Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generation discussion on the fallout from Boruto Chapter 75. And today, I wanted to cover a request I got from a huge Code fan who is a patron of mine and throw Code fans a little bit of a bone because after Damon nearly broke his neck for drinking his juice box and taking his Happy Meal toys, it's been brought to my attention I've been making way too many jokes at Code's expense and that I don't give the character enough credit. It's gonna be for that reason since Code hasn't been in the manga for the last 2 chapters, but we're about to get the Code Assault arc in the anime in a couple of months. I wanted to discuss the 5 ways Code can achieve his goal of becoming an Otsutsuki God, and Code fans, I promise you, no red-haired or white-haired Otsutsuki worshippers were harmed in the process of this video because Damon was put in timeout while recording the video. So jumping right into it, we all know that Code has the goal of becoming an Otsutsuki God. It was given to him by Isshiki, who, while on his deathbed in his final moments before his soul extinguished, Isshiki gave Code orders, become an Otsutsuki God by making a chakra fruit and going from planet to planet to turn your body into an Otsutsuki by devouring chakra fruits and eventually becoming an Otsutsuki God. We then got confirmation of this still being Code's goal when he told Ada that he would become an Otsutsuki God and come back to see if he was really in love with Ada or if it was merely Ada's powers. My man basically said it's time for me to see if I'm really simping on you or if this glow up is going to make me want to invite Ada to Space Mountain for a season pass. It's in the last chapter. We saw firsthand that Isshiki's instructions to Code were indeed correct. They were a literal blueprint towards becoming a god. It is possible to obtain godhood by consuming multiple chakra fruits because Shibai Otsutsuki is the lone Otsutsuki who is able to do so. However, now that we know that this is a form and not necessarily a concept, what are the 5 ways that Code can conceivably reach Otsutsuki godhood? Well, starting at number 1, we have the obvious answer, which is to consume enough chakra fruits in order to reach god status. Now, I've seen some people suggest that since the earth chakra fruit is different and more potent than all the other chakra fruits in the universe, that if Code were to harvest a true chakra fruit from all the material on earth, that this would be enough to upgrade his body to the next level of being an Otsutsuki God. Basically a shortcut, if you will. And the way it was described to me is that this would basically be saying that all the other chakra fruits that Shibai Otsutsuki was eating were empty calories that you get from going to fast food restaurants, and that the earth chakra fruit is that true home-cooked meal of chakra fruits that are filled with nutrients that one needs in order to reach this level. I can kind of see that being the case. The earth chakra fruit is highly coveted by the Otsutsuki clan. That much we know because it was implied several times, but it also feels like this has the highest degree of difficulty to actually pull off. Like, Code has what he needs when you really think about it, which is he has a 10 tails. He's just missing an Otsutsuki to feed to the 10 tails itself. Boruto and Kawaki, they're not going to go down easily unless you can feed part of their body to the 10 tails in order to get a chakra fruit. The only other option is pulling a Samurai 8/Obito, where discarding the body means absolutely nothing due to how the spirit works when one is transcended beyond life and death. But if Kishimoto pulls another Samurai 8, I think it's going to confuse people, and pulling an Obito is still going to confuse people. Since we're 8 years since Obito allowed Kakashi to use Susanoo, and we saw people who don't understand how Kakashi used Susanoo 8 years ago and was able to use Obito's 6-pass power. I think if you go that route, you're probably gonna confuse people, which is why KISS, keep it simple stupid, is the best option here in my opinion. Now, speaking of options, option number 2 that I've seen people mention is that Code captures Kawaki and feeds Kawaki to the 10 tails. It makes sense to target Kawaki when you think about it. There's no love lost between the two of them. Kawaki told Code to his face that he was the one who killed Isshiki, which is technically true since Isshiki had stomped a mud hole into Baryon Mode Naruto after outlasting Baryon Mode Naruto. He was choking him out. He was stomping that mud hole into Naruto's transformation till it cut off and threatening to stomp Naruto's chest in order to crush his heart unless Kawaki came out. Kawaki, between Sasuke's diversion and Kawaki's own quick thinking with the shadow clone, was able to finish off, and it was Kawaki's foot that literally stomped out a begging Isshiki out of physical existence. Code does have a reasonable bone to pick with Kawaki. However, the issue with Code going this route is that we have to lure Kawaki out yet again, repeating a story arc that we've already seen, and he'd be running the risk of Ada taking the leash off of Damon and saying, "Get him, boy." And we all know Code doesn't want that to happen again. At the same time, though, to play devil's advocate, there have been more than one instance where Momoshiki or someone else has talked in a way that hinted at Kawaki being fed to the Ten Tails at some point in time. It would fit that destructive path for Kawaki, but I personally have a hard time believing the main character in the sequel to Naruto isn't going to be able to save one of his closest friends, whom he considered to be a brother, and the character who is likely the co-main character of part 2 of the story, from a fate that's going to be worse than death, unless Kishimoto decides to make Naruto part 3 Kawaki that time I got reincarnated as a Taiyaki. I don't know if that's going to happen. Now, for option number 3, the idea is that Code finds a way to feed Boruto to the Ten Tails. That would include finding some kind of way to get Boruto out the village. Again, another plot point that we've already seen, and the only real way this works is if we cash in on something set up earlier in the Code Assault arc, where Boruto was told to make his own karma in order to place it on someone else. The idea was that you do it to Code, but as Amato said, that might not work since Code isn't going to stand around and let the karma seal override itself. Now, could we see Boruto put the karma seal on Sasuke Naruto? I don't think Naruto, if it means saving his child, would hesitate, but karma means erasing Naruto altogether. He would cease to exist, which likely means there's no trip to the Pure Land to see Minato and Kushina unless we take what the anime did, where we saw Jigen's ghost and we had the happy ending where Naruto gets to go meet his family. The same when it comes to Sasuke visiting the Uchiha clan in the graveyard. I don't know if this is the route you want to go to say Boruto loses everything, and there's also the Momoshiki factor taking the play here. Do we really think Momoshiki's gonna allow this to happen? Momoshiki said numerous times, if anything were to happen to you, I'd stop it before it got that far. You're my precious vessel. Momoshiki ain't trying to go to the afterlife. He'd be more upset than the Naruto fans who were convinced that Boruto is going to be announced as a genjutsu at Jump Festa this weekend, which too bad they woke up to reality and had to go right back to sleep and keep dreaming that nonsense that they were spewing. Now, jokes aside though, I think this is the easiest way to split the fandom if you do this. Killing Naruto or Sasuke is a bitter pill to swallow, but having one of them give their lives to revive Boruto is going to make things toxic, like the pH levels of Kaguya's ancient kitty cat. Boruto would have to take a pretty based approach to the main character to kill them off and then have them return in a manner such as this. I personally would be all for it just because of the complaining I could see happening online, but this would feel like a lot of a stretch, and I don't think that it's going to happen, but I'm not going to say it's impossible either. I could see a story arc reasonably done for Naruto and Sasuke where it's in character. I just think you're committing suicide to the franchise if you do that. Now, option number 4, things stay simple, which is that Code finds a way to get his hands on Shibai's body and either feeds that to the Ten Tails using the aforementioned method we did earlier, since the body is discarded, and we pull a Samurai 8 in terms of life and death don't apply to a being who's ascended, or we pull an Obito where chakra still exists in the physical world despite Shibai's soul no longer being there, similar to how Obito's soul no longer was in the same realm that Naruto was in, but Obito was able to connect to Kakashi via chakra. That feels like it might be the safest route to take. Again, I just worry that if this is the route that it goes down, I think we're going to see a bunch of people confused, like Samurai 8, and like how we still see with Kakashi and Susanoo, where I get at least one comment a day of people saying, how is this possible? This was a plot hole, when it wasn't a plot hole. There's just small details people overlook. I think that if you run this back a third time, it's going to have to be spoon-fed, explained in a way to where it's extremely easy to understand, to a point where even 12-year-old Naruto, with his lack of comprehension skills, is going to be able to understand and say, hey, that was easy. Naruto fans, I'm sorry. 12-year-old Naruto's hilarious, but he was a bit of an idiot. Now, for option number 5, we have to go with the route that Code either injects himself with Shibai's DNA, which I highly doubt since that requires getting the body of Shibai, or Code finds a way to offer himself up as a vessel for Shibai, who would be able to use him since he's gone beyond the limits of karma in terms of needing a vessel. So Code being a failed vessel has no impact because he's beyond Isshiki, and honestly, honestly, this one thing here brings Code's character full circle. He's finally of some kind of use to the Otsutsuki clan, just as he always wanted to be. Allowing Shibai's spirit, which has transcended, to possess his body might be the easiest way for him to become a god while also being of service to his god. That's going to be a very ballsy take and route to go, especially if you go right up there with having Shikamaru smoke a cigarette in the manga while telling Hidan, "I'm your god now," before he killed Hidan, which is a side note that was actually censored slightly in the anime version of the story. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but given how sensitive people are in 2022/2023, I could see someone getting worked up trying to cancel Boruto for saying that this was blasphemous if this happened. Hopefully I'm wrong, because having Boruto smoke a cigarette, smoke a blunt, and having Kawaki drink a bottle of wine or a bottle of that Hennessy while killing Code, telling him that he really thought he was one of them ones, gets me about as excited as Roman Reigns turning on Sami Zayn in the few months leading up to WrestleMania. That being said, I'm curious to know you guys' thoughts on this. Which option do you think is most likely going to be the way that Code reaches godhood, or do you think Code will never reach godhood? Is this like another Icarus situation where just as Icarus got a little too close to the sun and fell into the sea, Code's going to get a little too close to mess around with those Otsutsuki stuff and end up essentially falling into the sea figuratively? While you think that over, click here to watch my video from earlier today, or click here for this Naruto Explained video.